saw the story, and you know what? Thought we have to talk about this because I'm looking at myself, guilty. I'm looking at others, guilty. We are spending more and more time online, scrolling away, or as they call it, doom scrolling for some. And the numbers, they're not only, I don't want to say shocking, because I kind of had an idea they were heading this way, but they continue to rise. And what's interesting here is the demographic breakdown as well. That kind of surprised me, so I thought we'd try to find out more. Dr. Sara Grimes is a professor at McGill University, expert in children's digital media culture and children's rights in the digital environment. But Dr. Grimes, first of all, thank you for coming on. And second of all, I want to point out the surprise, to me anyway, was not with children, it's with adults here. What do you think?
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is a really interesting study. My first thought was, well, these older age groups grew up, a lot of them engaging with digital culture, emailing, and it's really a part of their lives too. So I think like what we're seeing also is kind of like habits and the age groups and the generations are getting older, and they're bringing some of these habits with them. And then, for others who are introduced to these tech devices a little bit later, they're just kind of like becoming more habituated and, kind of more comfortable with using them for such a huge range of different activities.
Yeah. So I want to break down the numbers for people who didn't see this. So men, 72 more minutes more, and users over 55, 77 more minutes more. They were the biggest increase in social media consumption in this study. I'm not sure there's the question that comes with, well, okay, what's wrong with that? If you're getting your information from there, is there an issue here? Is there a problem here as far as you can tell? I know it's one thing for kids because, of course, it distracts, but what about for adults?
Yeah, that's such an interesting question. I mean, you're totally right. There's like a huge amount of information that we get through our devices. Entertainment. I mean, we can watch like whole movies on these amazingly clear picture, pretty big screen phones, and all this daily life happens, work, keeping in touch with your friends. There's a bunch of different factors.
Right.
I also think like one of the things that's kind of interesting whenever we isolate like a year like this, there was a lot going on this past year, like in terms of news and global events and like the tariffs and the threats from the U.S. I know like one of the things that they mentioned in the article is like a lot of people are scrolling first thing in the morning and last thing at night.
Yeah.
And of course, like that can come from a lot of different sources, but the doom scrolling is definitely a real thing that a lot of us, and I'll count myself in that too, suffer from. But, we're also seeing the continued spread of things like persuasive design and gambling apps and like these things that we do worry about when kids are involved. We focus a lot on that. But these are also things that are really heavily targeted to adults, and they're present in all kinds of apps that adults are using. So I think that, there's a possibility here that we should consider that we might not be immune to those strategies, and maybe we should be taking a closer look at how they're used and if this is really an ethical thing to include in our lives.
I wonder, too, as you mentioned this, if you think back as little as 15 years ago, when was the iPhone introduced? Like 2010. Nobody did it. First of all, this wasn't even an option at the time, right? And then all of a sudden, here we are 15 years later, and it's like you can't put the phone down. And as you said, the study shows people first thing in the morning, what do? On your phone. Last thing at night, many people in bed, what are they doing? Scrolling on their phones. I think we lost the doctor. I think the issue here really becomes at some point, so now I'm speaking from personal experience, right? At some point you're like, why am I watching this stupid stuff? Like, I don't want to see an alligator eat another animal. Why is this on my feed? Because I watched it once and now it knows that I'm always going to be there. So that's the kind of stuff I don't understand. And that we're going to try to get the doctor back. We lost our connection. And then the other part, of course, is I don't know enough. Maybe I should ask a 10-year-old to just simply let the algorithm know I don't want to see this kind of stuff. Like if you're telling me it's like if you were watching CNN all day and that was my feed, I'd be okay with that because you get caught up on news stories and then you'd be done. But when you're just scrolling randomly, you can't do that. It's one thing after another stuff that I'd want to see, didn't ask to see, but the algorithm has decided that for me, I should continue to see this, and I don't know how you stop that. I'm not sure there's a solution to that at all, but that's where we are. I guess for some reason, we've lost the doctor on the phone. probably like Instagram or TikTok probably heard that this was a conversation we were having, and they got to her line and made her hang up. Doctor, are you there?
I am. Yeah, we got disconnected.
Yeah. I just wandered on for the last 2 minutes here talking about how badly I do with this, right? So I'm an adult, and I can't. I said I've had enough. I don't want to see alligators eating more animals in my feed every day. I don't know why that's there. I didn't ask for it to be there. I don't need to see cats dressed up as people. How do you? Is part of this, I guess, my question, because we don't know how to control what we're watching?
Yeah, I mean, I guess all of us, can kind of like increase our digital literacy and our skills in like deciding what to, watch and what's the good use of our time. I think we can all do better with that. But I do also think that we need to take a little bit of a closer look at how these things are designed and how the tech companies are really prioritizing continued incessant and prolonged engagement with all of the way that these recommender systems are designed, the way that algorithms are now, tracking your every desire and habit to try to maximize the amount of time you're spending. We used to have rules about what advertisers were allowed to say and do to us on other media, and we haven't really imposed those on these apps in the online world. And so, I think we can do better, but I think we're not entirely to blame here. You know what I like?
I like as well that in the story it says we're apparently beginning to realize now, maybe that's step one, that we're doing too much of this, too much scrolling, too much time spent on our phones. And it says almost half of those people surveyed say they're working on strategies to limit use. What sort of strategy do you need beyond put your phone down? I'm curious. What strategy would you require to actually spend less time scrolling on your phone?
Yeah. Well, I think we can probably, use a lot of the same strategies that we recommend to children and teens of turning off the notifications, maybe setting time limits. And like one thing, this is just personal. It's not based on research, but one thing that we've found really helpful in our family, we have young children, is to put aside time where we're watching a movie together on the big screen, and that this is like a family time moment. And it's not the same as no screens, right? And it's still fun, and we all get to have that entertainment. But that shared experience is it's so much more rewarding, and actually, you can kind of focus, and also it's easier to put it down because when the movie's over, right, you just, you turn it off and you move on with your life. So I don't know, the youth these days have trends of like returning to the old school media technologies for certain things. Like I was reading that the iPod, remember the old iPods? They become popular again among Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
I can start using mine again. Great.
Exactly. And like this is not a bad idea. One of the things that makes phones so great is, you have the endless options. There's always something else that you can do on them. But having kind of like these more discrete experiences and engagements, that's probably really healthy, actually.
So if I can ask, so you do this, you study this. What do you, when you're online, when you're looking at your phone, or do you have particular places you're looking? If you're not doing work, what are you scrolling? What are you doing?
I'm on Blue Sky. I do doom scrolling there and read all about geopolitics. And what else do I do? I play a lot of crosswords, actually, New York Times crosswords for fun.
On your phone?
On my phone. Yeah, okay. I know.
I'm no judging here. No. Do you do Wordle?
I don't so much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do.
You do crosswords.
I do a lot of the New York Times crosswords.
Okay.
They have a huge backlog, archive. Yeah. So it's endless.
I feel like we're in therapy now. Okay. We'll leave it at that. I appreciate your time today. And for everybody out there who can't put their phone down, just try it and, see what happens, because I sense this is going to get worse before it gets better, sadly. Yeah. But that's how we are. Dr. Sara Grimes over at McGill, thanks so much for your time.
Unmistakably Canadian.
It's the music that raised you.
The artists raising the bar.
Hi, this is Brian Adams.
Hey, my name's Brett Emmons. I'm from the Glorious Sons.
Hi, I'm Nelly Furtado.
Made in Canada. The station that champions Canadian music.
Loud, proud, and all yours.
No passports required. Just press play.
Tap into Made in Canada now on iHeartRadio.ca
or the free iHeartRadio app.